My daughter, who died 4 years ago, called at 1 a.m. "Open the door, I'm cold." The phone rang at 1:07 a.m., slicing through the thick silence of my bedroom like a blade through butter. I jerked awake, my heart already hammering before my conscious mind could catch up with my body's instinctive alarm. Nothing good ever comes from a phone call in the dead of night. I've learned that lesson too many times, carved it into my bones with losses that still ache in the hollow places of my chest. My hand fumbled across the nightstand, knocking over the glass of water I always keep there, sending it tumbling to the carpet with a muffled thud. The phone screen glowed in the darkness, painfully bright against my sleep-adjusted eyes. I squinted at it, expecting to see unknown number, or perhaps my sister's name. She's a night owl, sometimes forgets what time zone I'm in. But what I saw instead made my blood turn to ice water in my veins. Emma. Her name, right there on the screen, accompanied by the photo I'd never been able to delete. Her laughing face, head thrown back, that gap between her front teeth visible, her honey-colored hair catching the sunlight from that day we'd gone to the beach. She was 14 in that picture. She would have been 18 now if she'd lived. If the cancer hadn't devoured her from the inside out, if the treatments hadn't failed, if God or the universe or whatever force governs these things had shown even a shred of mercy. But Emma had been dead for 4 years. 4 years, 2 months, and 16 days, to be exact. Not that I was counting, except I was. Every parent who's buried a child counts the days, whether they admit it or not. We carry invisible calendars etched on our hearts, marking time in the currency of absence. The phone kept ringing, vibrating in my trembling hand. I should have answered immediately, should have snatched it up on the first ring. But I was paralyzed, caught between impossible hope and the certain knowledge that this had to be some kind of mistake, some glitch, some cruel cosmic joke. My mind raced through rational explanations. Someone had found her old phone, was using her number. The carrier had reassigned it. This was a scam. Some horrible person who'd somehow obtained her contact information and was exploiting a grieving parent's vulnerability. But my hand, operating on some deeper instinct than logic, swiped to answer before my brain could fully process the decision. "Hello." My voice came out strangled, barely above a whisper, cracking on the second syllable. For a moment, there was only silence on the other end. But not empty silence. It was populated silence, if that makes any sense. The kind where you can tell someone is there, breathing, present, could hear it. Faint but unmistakable, the soft inhale and exhale of human breath. And then, cutting through the static and distance and 4 years of grief and impossible separation, I heard her voice. "Mom, Mom, please, open the door. I'm so cold." The world tilted. My bedroom, the familiar space I'd inhabited for 2 decades, with its cream-colored walls and the water stain on the ceiling, I kept meaning to fix, and the reading lamp, casting shadows in the corner, suddenly felt like a stage set, something constructed and artificial. Nothing was real. Nothing could be real in a world where my dead daughter was calling me, asking me to let her in from the cold. "Emma?" I breathed her name like a prayer, like an incantation, like I could speak her back into existence through sheer force of will and longing. "Emma, baby, is that you?" "I'm outside, Mom. Please, I need you to open the door. It's so cold out here. I've been waiting so long." Her voice. God, her voice. It sounded exactly like I remembered and nothing like I remembered at the same time. It had the same slight rasp she'd developed during the treatments, when the tubes had irritated her throat. The same cadence, the way she'd always said, "Mom," with a slight upward inflection at the end, turning it into something between a statement and a question. But there was something else there too, something I couldn't quite identify. A hollow quality, an echo, as if she were speaking to me from the bottom of a well. I was on my feet before I realized I'd moved. The phone pressed so hard against my ear it hurt. I stumbled out of the bedroom, my legs shaky, my body operating on autopilot while my mind struggled to process what was happening. The hallway stretched before me, longer than it should have been, the shadows deeper. The house I'd lived in for 15 years suddenly felt unfamiliar, foreign, as if I were seeing it through someone else's eyes. "I'm coming, sweetheart," I said into the phone, my voice breaking. "I'm coming right now. Just hold on, baby. Just hold on." But even as I rushed toward the front door, even as every maternal instinct in my body screamed at me to get to my child, to protect her, to bring her in from the cold, a small voice in the back of my mind was whispering terrible truths. "Emma is dead. You buried her. You scattered her ashes in the ocean like she asked. You sat by her bedside and held her hand as she took her last breath. You felt her go, felt the exact moment when the animating force that made her Emma left her body, leaving behind just an empty shell. I reached the front door and stood there, my hand on the deadbolt, frozen. On the other side of that door was, what? My daughter, somehow returned from death. A ghost? A hallucination born from grief and sleeplessness, and the prescription. Sleeping pills. I'd been taking more often than I should. Something worse. Something my mind couldn't even name. "Mom?" Her voice came through the phone again. Smaller now, younger sounding. "Why aren't you opening the door? Don't you want to see me?" That broke me. Whatever hesitation I'd felt shattered like glass. My child was out. Out there, and she was cold, and she needed me. Nothing else mattered. Not logic, not the laws of nature, not the impossible fact of her death. I twisted the deadbolt with shaking fingers, hearing the metallic snick of the lock disengaging. I turned the handle. I pulled the door open. The porch was empty. Not just empty, absolutely, utterly vacant. No Emma, no ghost, no figure standing in the pool of yellow light cast by the porch lamp. Just the November night, cold and clear, with frost glittering on the lawn and my breath forming white clouds in the frigid air. The street beyond was silent. Not a car in sight, not a person walking by. Even the neighbor's dog, who usually barked at everything, was quiet. "Emma?" I called out, stepping onto the porch, the cold concrete shocking against my bare feet. "Emma, where are you?" The phone was still at my ear, and I could still hear her breathing on the other end of the line. Present but invisible. There but not there. "Why did you take so long?" she asked, and now her voice sounded different. Younger still, regressing. It was the voice she'd had at 7, maybe 8, before the cancer, when she'd been healthy and whole and thought her mother could fix anything. "I waited for you, Mom. I waited and waited, but you took too long." "I'm here now," I said desperately, turning in a circle on the porch, searching the shadows, the bushes, the driveway. "Tell me where you are, baby. Tell me how to find you." "I was right there," she said. And was that reproach in her voice? Hurt? "I was right there at the door, but you didn't open it fast enough. Now I'm going back." "Back where?" I was crying now, tears streaming down my face, my whole body shaking from cold and fear, and a grief so profound it felt like it would crack me open. "Emma, please. Don't go. Don't leave me again." "I have to," she said, and now she sounded far away, the connection weakening, as if she were moving through a tunnel or down a long corridor, getting further from me with each word. "It's not allowed. I shouldn't have called. I just missed you so much, and I was so cold, and I thought maybe if you let me in fast enough I could stay. But the rules are the rules, Mom. You know how it is." "I don't know the rules," I shouted into the phone, not caring if I woke the neighbors, not caring about anything except the sound of my daughter's voice getting fainter. "Tell me the rules. Tell me how to bring you back." "You can't bring me back," she said gently, sadly, with a wisdom that no 18-year-old should possess, living or dead. "I'm not really here, Mom. I'm not anywhere you can reach. I'm just echoes, ripples, like when you throw a stone in a pond, you know? The stone sinks, but the ripples keep going for a while. That's all this is, ripples." "I don't care," I said fiercely. "Ripples, echoes, ghosts, whatever you are, I don't care. You're still you. Some part of you is still here, still real enough to call me. That has to mean Something. It means I love you, she said simply. It means even death can't take that away. It means that somewhere, in whatever comes after, I'm still your daughter and you're still my mom. But it doesn't mean I can come back. It doesn't mean you can hold me again. I sank down onto the porch steps, the cold seeping through my pajamas, the phone pressed against my ear like a lifeline. I miss you so much, I whispered. Every single day I miss you so much it feels like I can't breathe. I know, she said. I miss you too, but Mom, you have to keep living. You have to keep breathing. You can't spend the rest of your life waiting for me to call again, standing by doors hoping I'll knock. That's not living. That's just haunting yourself. How can I stop waiting? I asked. How can I stop hoping? You don't stop hoping, she said. Hope is different. Hope is thinking about seeing me again someday. When it's your time, hope is believing that love is stronger than death, that what we had, what we still have, means something eternal. But waiting is putting your life on pause. Waiting is refusing to move forward. Promise me you won't do that. I wanted to promise. I wanted to give her anything she asked for. But the words stuck in my throat because I'd been doing exactly that for 4 years. Waiting. Existing but not living. Going through the motions while the best part of me remained trapped in the past. In those last terrible months of her illness. In the moment I lost her. I'll try, I said finally, because that was the only honest answer I could give. I'll try, Emma. For you. For both of us, she corrected gently. Do it for both of us, Mom. Live enough for 2, okay? Do all the things I didn't get to do. Be happy when you can. Laugh. Love people. Don't make my life mean less by refusing to live yours. The connection was getting weaker now. I could barely hear her. And I realized with mounting panic that this was ending. That any second now the call would drop, and she'd be gone again. Really gone this time, with no phone calls or midnight knocks to bridge the impossible distance between us. Wait, I said urgently. Emma, wait. Tell me, are you okay? Where you are, wherever you are you okay? Are you in pain? The pause stretched so long I thought I'd already lost her. Then, faint as a breath, I heard her answer. I'm not in pain anymore, Mom. I'm not sick. I'm not scared. I'm just me. The me I was before everything got hard. And I'm not alone. There are others here, people who love me, people who... Static crackled across the line, cutting her off. Emma, I called desperately. Emma, are you there? More static, then a few more words, fragmented and barely audible. Love you, always. Don't forget. And then, nothing. Just the dead tone of a disconnected call, that flat, mechanical sound that might be the loneliest noise in the world. I sat there on the porch steps as the eastern sky began to lighten with the first hints of dawn, the phone still pressed to my ear, my body numb from cold. Eventually, I looked at the call log, needing to confirm that it had really happened, that I hadn't dreamed or hallucinated the whole impossible conversation. There it was. Emma, mobile, 1:07 a.m. Duration, 18 minutes. I touched her name on the screen, tried to call back. It rang and rang and rang, then went to voicemail. Her voicemail. Her voice from 4 years ago. Bright and healthy and alive. Hey, it's Emma. I can't answer right now, but leave a message and I'll call you back. Except she wouldn't call back. She couldn't. That voicemail message was just another echo, another ripple on the pond. I went inside as the sun rose, made coffee with shaking hands, sat at the kitchen table wrapped in a blanket. My husband found me there when he woke up an hour later, and I told him everything, watching his face cycle through concern and sadness, and that particular kind of gentle worry people get when they think you might be having a breakdown. It felt real, I insisted, showing him the call log. Look at the duration. 18 minutes. You can't hallucinate for 18 minutes and have it show up in the phone records. He didn't argue, just held me while I cried, because what else could he do? We'd both lost her, both grieved her. But grief is such a solitary country. Each person travels it alone, no matter how many companions walk alongside them. In the days that followed, I tried to go back to normal. but I kept checking my phone obsessively, especially at night. I'd lie awake until 1 in the morning, waiting, hoping, dreading. But the phone never rang again with her name on the screen. Eventually, I had to accept that it had been a one-time thing, a glitch in reality, a moment when the barrier between life and death had grown thin enough for one brief, impossible conversation. But you know what? It changed something in me. Not right away. Healing never happens right away, but gradually, incrementally, like watching ice melt or flowers bloom. I found myself able to breathe again, found myself able to remember her with joy instead of just grief, found myself able to live, really live, instead of just existing in the shadow of her absence. Because she was right. She'd always been wise beyond her years, my Emma. And death hadn't changed that. I couldn't spend my life waiting by the door for a ghost who couldn't come back. I had to honor her memory by living fully, by extracting every ounce of beauty and meaning from the years I'd been given that she hadn't. Sometimes, on cold November nights, when the frost glitters on the lawn and the world feels hushed and holy, I still think about that call. I still wonder about the rules she mentioned, about ripples and echoes, and the strange physics of love that persists beyond death. I still catch myself hoping that maybe, just maybe, the phone will ring again at 1 a.m., that I'll hear her voice asking me to let her in from the cold. But mostly, I try to live, for both of us. And sometimes, in the midst of an ordinary moment, watching the sunset, laughing at a joke, tasting something delicious, I feel her with me. Not as a ghost or an echo, but as a presence, a warmth, a certainty that love doesn't end when the heart stops beating. She's not cold anymore. Neither am I. The midnight call from Emma became both my deepest wound and my greatest healing. In those 18 impossible minutes, I received the gift I'd been desperately seeking for 4 years. Confirmation that some essential part of her continued, that our love transcended the boundaries of life and death, that she was finally free from pain and fear. But more than that, she gave me permission to live again. Her words haunted me in the best possible way, pushing me to step out of the frozen grief that had held me captive. I realized that by refusing to move forward, I wasn't honoring her memory, I was diminishing it. She deserved a mother who could carry her love forward into life, not one paralyzed by loss. I still miss her every day. The ache never fully disappears. But now I can remember her laughter without being crushed by sorrow. I can celebrate what we had instead of only mourning what we lost. And on those cold November nights, when the world feels thin between the living and the dead, I no longer wait by the door hoping she'll call again. Because she already told me everything I needed to hear. Keep living, keep loving, keep going. For both of us.